Good morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Petrelli, and welcome back to our art class. Welcome to week 6. And if we go back to last week, the purpose of our lesson was to try to create the illusion, right? That means try to make it look like something when it really isn't. And what I mean by that is that when we as artists try to show something, we're usually showing it on a flat surface, a two-dimensional surface. That means it's flat. You do whoosh. Good. That's my symbol for flat. Whoosh. So you can only measure it 2 ways. You can measure the width and the length of your paper, right? But that's it. We have to try to use lines and shapes to try to show a picture or an image of something. So right here, our reference artist was Paul Cézanne, and he painted some beautifully realistic pieces, right? So this looks like a real vase. It looks like real oranges and apples, but are they? No, of course not. They're on a flat, whoosh, you do, whoosh, flat sheet of paper. So two-dimensional. We are trying to create the look of, or the illusion, like a magic trick. We're trying to trick people's eyes into believing that this is round, that it curves around. So we would start by drawing the circle like we did, and then we need to now add color, right? So as you can see, this is an apple from my refrigerator. Now, is this flat? No, it's not flat. This apple is curved around, and I can grab this in my hand. Can I grab this circle? No, because it's what? Very good, boys and girls, because it's flat. So I need to try to use color on my circle to give it the look like it curves around. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. We're going to do that by changing the value of our color. Now, what does value mean? It simply means the lightness or darkness of a color, okay? The lightness or darkness. So if we take this crayon, let's say, I'm gonna take a red, and I'm going to simply color this whole circle with my red crayon. And you can do the same. And there are some apples that are red, there are some apples that are green, and if you think this circle reminds you more of an orange, you can color it in orange, okay, whatever you like. So I'm trying to color to the best of my ability, which means I'm taking my time. I'm coloring up and down in only one direction, right? And I'm trying to fill in all of my white spaces. Okay, there we go, that's pretty good. Now that's a light value, right? That's not too dark, it's not too light, it's a medium light value. Now, I wanna show you on my apple with my flashlight what happens to the light. So, since this is curved around, let's pretend that we have a light source coming from over here. Cézanne's light source is right here. These highlights, these little white spots on his vase, show that it's coming from here. But we're going to make ours come from the right side. So if I shine the light on my apple, do you see that the light stays on this side? Does it go around the apple to this side of the apple? No, it doesn't. It can't, because the light is hitting just right here. It can't jump around the side because this is 3D. You say 3D. Very good. 3-dimensional. That means you can measure the length, the width, and how deep it is, how deep it goes inside, right? So since this is not flat, the light hits only one side. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this right side of our circle the lightest value. And then we're going to make this side, the side that doesn't get the light, gets the shadow. This side is much darker. And that's what we are going to show on our paper. So let me just say that if you have more than one kind of a red, you can use those. If you have markers and you'd like to add some marker, you can certainly use marker and crayon together, and that is called mixed media. You say, mixed media. Excellent. That just means that you're mixing different materials together. You're using them together. So maybe I'm going to take my marker and I'm just going to make this side a little bit darker, kind of like a crescent moon shape. Just right there. Now, I don't necessarily want to see that line right here between the crayon and the marker. Maybe I'll make it a little thicker. Maybe like that, like a crescent moon shape or a banana, right? Okay, and now I'm going to take my same red crayon, my red, and I'm going to color, pressing very, very hard right here where the marker and the crayon are touching one another. Right where they meet, I'm going to color in little circles. And so as you can see, what is happening? What's happening, boys and girls? What's happening is that the value is changing. Light, medium, dark. Now that makes it appear more realistic. It makes it appear like it is curving around, right? Okay, now let me show you what happens if you don't use a marker. Let me get just a green. Let's say that I have a green apple as well. I'm going to take this green. Oops, that's a super light green. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit darker green. I'm going to press, well, you can start off the whole thing lightly. That's the easy way. So whatever color you're going to choose, color your whole shape, this whole enclosed space, which is a shape, color it all in a light value of green, light. Good. Then, once you've colored it in all lightly, remember that our light source, our pretend light, is flashing on this side. So we want to make the opposite, the opposite side a dark value by pressing hard. So you see I'm pressing very, very hard on the left side. And I'm leaving the right side light. Okay. Now, let's see, maybe I'm going to choose another one over here, make it red, and I'll show you just in crayon this time, okay? Remember here we mixed media, and I put marker on this side, and I left it just crayon here, and then I blended it together. Here, I want to show you that you can have the same effect. If you don't want to use markers or you don't like to use markers, you can just stick with the crayons, and it will look the same way. So I'm going to take my whole circle, I'm going to color it all in, all of it, a light value of red. And I'm trying to stay in one direction, filling in all of these white spaces, right? So that it can be full of color or more colorful. Now, I take the right side and I leave it light value. And over here, I press super duper hard. Oops, I went out of the line. That's okay, I'll fix it later. Okay, so I'm going to press really, really, really hard here, like a crescent moon shape. And why do we do that? To show that this is curving around. Remember, we're trying to transform or change, right? We're trying to show that this circle is being transformed from a flat, whoosh, two-dimensional surface or shape of a circle and transformed into the three-dimensional form or the 3D form of a sphere, right? Or something that is round and curves around. Okay, so right here, the value is darker. Okay, and maybe, you know what? I think I like it better with a little bit of marker. So I can always go back on top with a marker if it's not dark enough, or if you have another red that you like better. And I'm also going to use the marker here. And then I'm going to color the rest of this red. And you can make anything you like. You can put stems on it. You can, let's see, I have a brown marker here. I can make a stem coming off of here if I want for my apple. You can add small details anywhere that you want, right? It's your piece. You can make them whatever kind of fruit you want. And I'm going to finish coloring this one here. And then we move on to our vase. And now I press harder here where they're touching the crayon and the marker, and I blend them together. Perfect. Okay, do they look more realistic now? Yeah, I agree, I think so too. Now, let's go over to our vase, and I'm going to choose green. Why? Because Paul Cézanne made his green. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start off with a green, just regular green, and I'm going to color my whole vase in a green crayon. Now, is this a light value or a dark value of green? I can't hear you. Excellent. If you said a light value of green, you are correct. Okay, so now I am coloring in one direction. I'm taking this green and I'm going across my whole vase in a light value. That means I am not pressing very hard with my crayon. And I also want to get in here, inside the vase. Because when we drew it last week, we made this curved line go behind and jump across and jump behind the stems of the flowers to show that it is actually a three-dimensional form, that we could fit the flowers inside, even though we really can't. But as artists, we draw our lines and our shapes to look a certain way. Okay, so there's my light value of green. Now I need to, remember, I need to make it look as though the light is shining only on this side and not able to go around to this dark side. So I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to press super duper hard here, but only on this side. Only here. And maybe I'm gonna go, well, maybe I'll go here, like halfway, or a little less than half of my width of my vase. And remember, boys and girls, you don't have to make yours green, and you don't have to make your fruit, apples, make them red. You don't have to do that. You can make them whatever colors you want. And Paul Cézanne has the bottom of his vase here like a yellowish beige or tan, and you can do that. You can decorate the vase however you like. But the reason that I chose green was because his is green, and then red is the complementary color of green. So if you look at this color wheel and you go across from the red, you're going to find the greens, right? Remember, the complementary colors make one another look their best. And they are directly across from one another on the color wheel. So it's like you're shaking your friend's hand right across from you, okay? And so I am working on this side of the vase. This is the dark side here, where we're not getting a lot of light from our light source or our flashlight. And so I'm pressing very hard as I can. And inside the vase, very, very, very dark, because the light doesn't get inside of the vase. The light can't go from here and jump into the vase. That's not possible. So inside of here is also a very dark value. So I'm going to press very hard inside my vase and on the left side of my vase. Okay, so there we go. And here, where these two values meet, if I want it to look really, really, really great and realistic, I color in little circles. And that allows me to blend these two values together a little bit better. In little circles, kind of makes your line disappear. Okay, that's an artist's trick. So now my line isn't so harsh. It's a little bit faded. Okay, and now you can, let me see, I'm gonna make it look like it's on the table. And you can make it whatever color you want. Here on this example that's older, I made it look like it was on a wooden table, and I did that by adding some visual texture. So I made some skinny, skinny, skinny squished letter Z's. Like little zigzag lines like this, like a letter Z, but squished really, really, really skinny. And I go behind all of my fruit. I don't ever draw on top. I always want to make it look like it's going behind, so that it looks like these objects are sitting on top of the surface of the table. Now notice, you can do this in crayon, you can do it in marker. It doesn't make any difference, but I'm just making some zigzag lines back and forth like that. And then I take my crayon, and if I want it to look like my wooden table, I'm just going to color it all in. And look, I just broke another crayon by pressing so hard. So since it broke anyway, I'm going to peel the paper off, and this allows me to color my surface of my page a little faster by rubbing. So if I rub, and I have to press hard because this is a light color, so I'm going to use my other hand that I can press really hard with. But you see what's happening? It's coloring, right? Does it look like a wooden table? Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so here's my wooden table. Now I'm trying to do it quickly because I want to get to one other thing besides the flowers, which is super fun for you guys. Try to stay within the lines. There's my tabletop. Awesome. Okay, so here's my tabletop. I have stems here. Maybe I take a marker because it's a little faster. I'm going to use my marker to color in my stems, green, and my leaves. And I can make lines there if I want to show some visual texture, or I don't have to. I can just fill them all in like that. I'm using the side of my marker, which is wider, and that allows me to cover more space or more area in a shorter amount of time. That allows me to color faster. Okay, not messier, not sloppily, but faster. Okay, so now I have all of my stems, nice and green. I'm trying to do my very, very best. Remember, you cannot erase marker. Okay, so there is that part, and there's only one last thing that I want to show you, boys and girls, to create the illusion of a 3D form. You say 3D form. Very good. Okay, so you're gonna color your flowers in whatever colors you like. You may color in this background area with whatever you like. If you want the walls to be blue, I mean, you can certainly color whatever you like here. I don't know. Let's say it's blue. I'm sure some of you have blue walls in your house. And if you don't, you can choose whatever color you like that you have in your house, or it could be your dream house for when you're grown-ups, and you can make it whatever color you like. But let's say I do that, and maybe I'm going to make, I don't know, maybe I'm going to have some orange flowers. Remember, you can use whatever materials you have at home. If you want to do this in oil pastel, watercolor paints, crayons, markers, color pencils, whatever you like, you are free to use whatever you have or whatever you prefer to use. Now, let's say I finish that and I'm done with all my flowers. The last thing that we need to do to create that illusion are a couple of shadows. So, shadows, right here. The same, it's not gonna work. The same side that has the dark value gets the shadow. So I know you can't really see right here, but this dark side, wherever that dark side is, we make a shadow. Let me just see if I have, okay. Let's use this same brown, the same tan that I have here. I'm going to make like a letter C right here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's just a little bit darker on the table. On the table, underneath each piece of fruit, make it a little bit darker value right there. So I'm gonna take this crayon, hope you can see me. I'm going to go on top of my vase, press super duper hard, I'll use this hand, press super duper hard, make a letter C, and color that in. It's the same brown or tan as my tabletop, but I'm pressing really hard here to make a darker value. And it just comes out a little bit away from your object onto the table. And that's going to show a shadow. Now here, you don't have a big shadow because most of your object is a light value. And right here, there's only a little bit of darkness there. Okay, so, and right underneath here, you would make it a little darker. I'm gonna like zoom in a little bit to show you. And this one was hard because I picked a light brown. But let me show you. Can you see that? Yeah. So it's just a little bit darker value than the rest of the tabletop, and that shows a shadow being cast from this fruit onto the surface, which is the table. Okay? And that's it, boys and girls. I have had so much fun with you today, and I love that you joined our class again, and I'm so excited to see you send me all of your beautiful, beautiful pieces, okay? So I will see you again next time, boys and girls, and thanks a lot for joining in, okay? See you next time. Bye-bye.